Hello and welcome to Hot Girl Talks. I am Shayna Marie, co-host of Capital XTRA Breakfast, Monday to Friday, 6:30 till 10 a.m. But today, I'm with the girls. The girls.
Girlies.
Are we the hot girls?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
Oh my
definitely.
God.
We're the hot girls and we're talking today, so it's Hot Girl Talks with us.
I love this for us.
So let's start by introducing ourselves for those who don't know who we are, what we
Sure.
do, where we've been, where we're from, and I guess journey to who we are today, sitting on these seats in the podcast studio at
Having a
Global.
hot girl talk.
Okay, I'm Zeze Millz, and I guess I became a thing because I used to talk online a lot, and I used to like run rappers to the ground. I used to stamp on their necks and tell them about themselves, like, you better do better. No, but that's really how I started, and that's how I gained a lot of attraction, because I would like really talk about different things like colorism, things that was really important to me and all that kind of stuff. And then I started the Zeze Millz show, and then I started interviewing people, and my interviews would they would always be like quite fiery interviews, and that's how kind of people got to know about me. And then as time has gone on, I've done a bit more TV presenting. Like I had a show on Channel 4 with Yinka called Unapologetic. We did 2 seasons of those. Yeah, that was really fun. And then I went on Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother, and that was fun as well. Yeah, and then most recently I've got my own radio show, Capital XTRA, on Sunday mornings. So yeah, that's kind of what I do now. Yeah, so it's good times.
And
Good
here she
times.
is, good times.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very big, admirable journey.
Oh,
Like
thank
even just like
you,
hearing you say that
Indiyah.
you've really done like this,
You've done
this,
some
this.
things.
Thank
now
you.
you're, like,
Thank you
here
so
you
much.
are.
And you have to
Thank
like
you.
play it down. You're like, oh, I just talk to some rappers. And you're
Yeah,
like,
it won't
actually,
do any old.
No, because that's how I think people like. That's how I started like a bit of traction.
Yeah.
And because I don't think anyone was it was a bit like Hot Topics. I did Hot Topics, and I would sit down and I'll talk about what was Harry. Headscarf Diaries. That was how that's true. Headscarf Diaries was what really kind of got people talking. And then the Zeze Millz show, and then that's how it kind of, and then from there.
Do you remember your first tweet or clip that blew up?
Probably when I used to talk about colorism, that was what would really like rub people up the wrong way. So when I started kind of calling out the rappers about the lack of representation of darker skinned women in videos, that kind of like rubbed them up the wrong way, and there'd always be like some sort of friction. So anytime I would talk about that, it would be like a thing, and they would come for me and be like, oh, you're this and you're that and whatever. So those conversations. But when I used to talk about colorism a lot, so many women resonated with it. It made me realize that I should keep talking about it. So yeah, that's probably that was.
Indiyah, what about you? Your journey to where you are today?
Well, as it stands now, I would probably class myself as a TV presenter, podcaster, and someone who loves to do content creation. I feel like that's where I put myself. I feel like people probably know me best. I was on a reality TV show 2 years ago now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 2 years. Like this summer we'll make it. Well, next summer we'll make it 3 years.
That is so crazy. Why does it feel like it was such a
like
long
we've
time
known you
ago?
forever.
Yeah. I was on Love Island season 8.
Wow.
Season 8, and I think now we just finished season 11.
That's mad.
So yeah, and I think since then I've just been doing everything fashion and beauty. I've done a lot of like hosting gigs. I'm now like a regular on the Love Island After Sun, and I host a podcast. So that's very exciting. I guess some like big milestones in my career since then is like hosting the MOBO Awards. Zeze, you were there as well. That was really fun.
That was good. You did so good.
And yeah, just like working with loads of like brands that I enjoy. So like being like a PLT ambassador, going on fun brand trips, and just really working my way around the industry and having fun with it. I feel like when you come off of reality TV, it's very hard to like situate yourself and know what you want to do, because people can easily be like, oh, you're a reality TV star. But I've done so much since then. Even when people ask me, I'm like, who am I? I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that's where like the direction I want to go down. And yeah, even speaking to you guys, like 2 years. How's it been 2 years?
That's so admirable. Like, I feel like we've known you for years.
I feel like
that's what I'm saying.
Years.
I can't believe it's only been 2 years.
Yeah.
But I think you've done such a good job at. I was saying the other day, I feel like there's this weird thing with like Love Islanders that come off. They kind of like want to disassociate themselves from Love Island ASAP. But I feel like you've been able to. We remember you from Love Island, but we don't almost, if that makes sense. So like you'd be like Love Island, but oh yeah, I forgot you was on Love, because you've done such a good job at creating your own brand and being who you are, and people like have really learnt to love you. I mean, I love you. I think you're dope. I think it's so a beautiful thing to see.
You've done it like really organically, and you always, even like you you're still working with Love Island.
Yeah.
That's your place.
I mean, that's one thing I don't understand though. I get you, Zeze, when people say people want to disassociate themselves. But for me, it's like, okay, cool. I would have never known that presenting or podcasting was the route I want to go down if it wasn't for Love Island. Because I went on the show, and then afterwards, like, the producer's like, we think you could do this, like, give it a shot.
Right.
And they chucked me in there, did my first like live TV on a Sunday with no idea what I was saying.
Yeah.
And it just took off, and I was oh, I really enjoy this.
So
So it's like, I think it's okay because like, yeah, I did influence him before Love Island, but let's call a spade a spade. I wouldn't have this much reach if I did not go on that TV show. So for me, it just feels a little bit ridiculous to try and be like, oh, I want nothing to do with the show, because you're not, it's who you make yourself after the show. I went on the show, I met my boyfriend, I'm having a great time, but I don't need to be like, I can just go and do other things. Like I can go on and be a TV presenter, which I want to do now.
Which you have.
Yeah, so I just feel like there's no harm in like, oh yeah, you came from this place.
Yeah.
By the way,
It's
if you
okay.
and Dami ever break up, we're all coming for you, by the way. Just hope you know
You're
that
not
that
allowed.
is just like, you're not allowed to.
We're
Everyone knows
literally
this already.
2
Like
years
everyone says
now.
this. I bet everyone
Allowed.
says this to you, right?
Yeah, everyone's like, don't let us down, don't. But it's like, if you know what goes on behind doors, I'll be cussing this man out. Like, it's fine.
Me, Shayna Marie. Okay, so broadcaster and DJ. I've been broadcasting radio for 10 years now.
Wow.
Right? I know. Like, I'm like,
That's crazy.
that is the,
Oh my gosh.
showing my age.
Stop.
I started broadcasting when I was in my final year at uni, and I was studying business. I don't know, God no, I was just there for the vibes. Like, okay, sure, I'll go to uni. And then I kind of like fell into radio. Because I saw like an advert on Twitter, and I was like, that might be fun.
Oh wow.
Like, it's just like someone was like looking for presenters to kind of bring their website, which was showcasing UK talent, into the radio. And I was like, I mean, I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm just like,
That is
uni.
so
Like,
good.
why not?
Give it a go.
So I jumped on that. I did that for a year at pirate radio.
Oh,
So the illegal ones where you have to pay to actually be on the air. Had a lot of fun there. I had a co-host. We would get drunk on air. We would just like have a good time. And then from there moved into community radio, West Side, and then I was there for about, I want to say 3 or 4 years. So I was just, again, it's like with community radio, it's great because you really learn the ropes. So you're like paying your dues, you're putting in your hours, and then got a email from Capital XTRA, like, hey, heard you on the radio at West Side, do you want to come and do a demo? And I was like, I remember getting that email being like,
Oh my gosh, so not you getting headhunted.
Headhunted.
Capital Extra. Come through.
I had to call my friend and be like, write the email back for me. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to even email anybody serious. So yeah, came and did the demo, did a few, and then got offered 2 shows. I did a Saturday with Yinka and then a Friday night mix show. So I was DJing as well. And then after like 9 months of doing the Saturday show, we got the breakfast show.
Nice.
And then been doing that for 5 years now, breakfast show.
So you've been waking up at 6. What time do you have to wake up?
4:30.
Wow. Is that just like a part of you now? Like it feels normal? Like when you take holiday, do you naturally wake up early now?
Yeah, like even on the weekend, I'm like a really early riser. I wasn't early riser anyway, so I used to do breakfast at West Side.
Okay.
But prior to that, I've always been like quite a morning person.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
But it's definitely in your fabric when you do breakfast. You're just
Yeah.
naturally. When I'm off, I got to be off for 2 weeks, and then by the end of the 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, okay, 10 a.m. wake up, nice, and then it's like back to work.
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go. So all of us now, after working, grinding, trying new things, are in good spaces in our careers, in our roles. What do you think? How would you describe Black women in our industries compared to when you started to how it is now? What do you think it looks like for us?
I think it's pretty solid. I feel like we're still fighting and we're still trying to get certain things that maybe like our white peers might get a little bit more easier. But I think that the doors have been opened a lot more. So I'm happy with the growth. I think that there's more opportunities for us. It's not also, back in the day it would be like one in, one out, and that's not the case anymore. There's space for like quite a lot of us. You get what I mean? So I think that there's a good steady progression. Obviously I think there's more that can be done, but I think we're in a nice space, especially in Black British culture. I think back in the past we would look to American culture a lot, and there was a lot of representation across seas, and I think now it's building, and I love that for us.
You can tell we're in a good space just by, like, for example, that when you guys went to Crepes dinner,
Yeah.
there's a picture of
yeah.
like all the women.
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
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 so
yeah.
cute.
So, yeah,
It's like,
exactly,
oh,
yeah.
I could name everyone in that picture and all of what they do.
Right,
And
yeah.
they're all doing
And everyone
amazing.
does something so completely
So
different.
completely
but
different.
we're all in the same
Everyone
room.
does amazing. Even if you do the same things, it's like you're doing it
Yeah.
over there, I'm doing it over here.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
we're both doing great. Like
Yeah.
we're in a good space. We've come a long way.
Yeah.
And you're right. People like Angelica Bell, June Sarpong, Mikia Oliver to an
Yeah,
extent
Yeah,
as
so
well.
yeah.
Like
household names.
Yeah.
they were probably going through it like
100%.
in order for us to go through it a little less.
Yeah, because I remember I did After Sun like last season, and I had like a big curly afro, and someone mentioned like, oh, it's so nice to see Indiyah wearing like obviously it was a wig,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
wearing like a natural textured
Yeah,
like
yeah,
weave
yeah.
on like primetime television. And when I saw that comment, I was just like, I didn't think anything of it, because when I went and picked it, I was like, I want that hairstyle.
Yeah.
At no point in time did I think, ooh, I'm gonna
I
get
can't wear
backlash
that,
or I can't
like,
wear
I
it.
can't-
yeah.
But I feel like us as Black women are becoming a lot more confident in our skin, and that
Yeah.
also helps like the next Black woman next to us, next door, wherever. Because I feel like when your peers start loving themselves, enjoying themselves, and being like unapologetically just yourself, then people start to follow suit, and it
100%.
becomes normal.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to make something normal for it to become normal. If that makes
Have to
sense.
do. And
Yeah.
Because back in the day, they were advised not to. Like,
Yes.
you wanted to look as whatever westernized
Yeah.
as possible, and you would even hide your hair because you wanted to maybe make sure you got the job or whatever. So the fact that now, like you're saying, you are on TV with your afro, even when me and Yinka would do Unapologetic, we would have braids, or I'd have my faux locks in and Yinka would have hers in, and it's just like, how beautiful is that to see like two Black women? Even that, when me and Yinka did that was like the first time, because normally it's either the light-skinned girl or the dark-skinned girl, and and more times you're going to lose out to the light-skinned girl, not any of fault of their own, just because in my opinion they probably, well, I always say this, if I was a producer, I understand why you might go for the racially ambiguous girl over the Black woman, because that is going to reach more. Like, somebody's going to turn on the TV and be like, oh, I can relate to her, because that's what it's about, being relatable. Do you get what I mean? So all of that stuff, it's just a beautiful thing to see that how far we're coming and how we're being accepted, and how we're, like you said, we're just unapologetic. It's like, you take me as I am, and that's what it is.
I did want to ask you about Love Island.
Yeah.
I know as Black women on Love Island,
Yeah.
obviously we've come leaps and
Far.
bounds. And you were on what, two years
2 years
you
ago,
said?
season 8. Yeah.
So how was that for you going on as a Black girl in Love Island? And then how do you think it is now?
But I feel like growing up, I've always known how to do my own hair. That's something I've always had a passion for, mainly because that's just how I was raised. Like, my mum's always taught me how to slick my hair and just like hold my own hairstyle. And like, now I know that obviously like some people might have like tighter coils and like curlier hair, so like Black hair can be very high maintenance. And going on a show like Love Island, knowing that I'm not gonna have access to my products. Like, I had like one tub of gummy wax to last me for the 13 weeks.
One tub?
Oh my
Literally.
God, girl.
Well, with that
Literally,
boy.
because I
Damn.
was just like, honestly, before I went into Love Island, like, I remember it was like 2 days for my payday and I just got a job at Dior. So I probably went in there with barely anything in my account. I literally was like, asked my husband, oh, please can you like borrow me £500 so I can go like PLT shopping? Like, I'm going in the fella. So like, I literally like just had my last of everything, and I was like, damn, what am I gonna do? So that is why I kind of opt for like a ponytail, because I was like, sorry, there's no way I'm slicking anything down in this heat. It's just not happening.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I did suffer because I had tapes. And they did yam on my hair. Very nice, very good. But I was just like, you know what, at least it's mine. I might have a little bald patch, but I'd
Work it
rather
out,
slick
work
down
it
my
out.
edge and hide it and do it. But yeah, I do feel like me like showing that representation of wearing my natural hair on the show has probably helped and opened doors, because I feel like when you're in a place like Love Island, nobody looks like you. Everyone has got their natural bust down, and maybe you just feel like you want to be in a place of fitting in. And I can kind of understand that, because for me personally, like, I feel like if I didn't have all the other Black men in that villa with me, I'd have gone home. Like, not even from like being voted out, I would have voluntarily put my hand up and said, I want to leave. Because I feel like when you're in such a close proximity with nobody that looks like you or you can't relate to, it's just very hard to get along, because it's not like we're at work and we're going to clock in and clock out and go home. It's like I'm sitting around people who I can't even have similar conversations because you just don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, since my season, there's been like 2-3 other seasons.
Yeah.
And like Ella wears her natural hair. I guess obviously Ella's like mixed race, so different hair texture. even like Mimi doing like different wig changes.
Yeah.
It's just nice to see.
Yeah.
And I feel like having representation, all black women do their hair differently. So I think it's nice to see certain women that prefer to do natural hair, certain women that like to change up their wigs.
Yeah.
Like not every black woman has the same wig
100%.
or like the same way of doing their
Same
hair.
style, the same.
But yeah,
it makes sense. It's nice to see people having different
hairstyles,
being able to change it up and being represented in different ways by different women.
And I also want us as black women to be in a space where I don't need to mention my hairstyle. If I have wigs, if I have a braid, I don't need to tell you about it or inform you that hey, I'm having braids next week.
I don't need to inform
because it's
you.
normal.
I don't need to inform
like
you.
it's normal.
It's so true.
I do what I want to do.
When you were on Unapologetic,
that
was like your show, yours and Yinka's show. It was like, this is my home. Like, I can be who I am. But when you're going to be like a guest on maybe Celebrity Big Brother or on Good Morning Britain, do you feel like you have to move differently?
No, I feel like from young I've always been like quite passionate about like representation and like Indiyah was saying about black women being able to just be themselves and not feel like not every black woman wants to wear a wig or wants to relax their hair or wants to whatever, but some want to have the braids and also we kind of been brought up not even to do with the workplace within our own community, like what is glamorous and what is not glamorous. So like growing up, braids wasn't glamorous. Braids were for like when you was going on holiday or school. So then like when we started doing weaves, like I've even seen so many discussions online about you don't do braids for your birthday, like you do like it's bust downs only. And
but do you not think our community has made us feel that way? Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it's only been maybe since last year that I've started feeling comfortable in my braids, because I'm not gonna lie, I represent Ghana braids going to school because that's what I used to get.
Right.
So on my 18th birthday, no, I will not be getting
not having
them.
braids.
I don't feel sexy.
That's what I said. It's not
Until
even
now.
We've internally done it, but it's because there's been a number done on us and what we think is a thing or like what is sexy and what not. Like it goes back to whenever. But so I think because I've always been passionate about that, my thing has always been like I want the girls that wear the braids or that don't necessarily do the bust downs or I love a good leave out. I'm a leave out girl. Like back in the day, the leave out. Listen, that's me. Like I'm too lazy to do wigs. I want the younger generation to look at me and be like, I can wear this and it's still glamorous, or I can wear my hair like and it's still, and I still can be a painting and I still can be classed as sexy and I can be classed as that. So for me, that's always been a big thing for me. And I think representation in general, like when you're in the public eye and I think whether you like it or not, you have a duty to kind of think about the people that look up to you, because when I was growing up, maybe I would have liked to see more people on TV with braids. And when you have a position of some sort of power, I think you should use it. Like, it's not about being a role model, because that's a strong word. It's just about being your authentic self, because there'll be one person that relates to you, there'll be one person that relates to you, Shayna, there'll be one person that relates to me. So I think representation is so important, and that's what I love to see.
Okay, so we're going to talk about celebrating our biggest full circle moments and potentially wins. I'll start. I don't know, I feel like there's a few, because I'm so grateful for everything that I've done since coming out. And I feel like I don't want to pinpoint it just to like coming out the villa, because I feel like all the legwork I put in before is probably the reason why I'm here today. So like just always working, always doing something. But for me, it would most likely be hosting the Mobos for sure, because I still can't believe I did that. Like, don't even make any sense. Probably, what else? Doing Love Island After Sun, and then being like a regular. When I was like sitting in the villa, like sitting on the day bed, not for a second did I ever think when I come out I would be the main podcast host and doing After Sun every Sunday with Maya Jama.
Did you like have an idea of what you wanted to do, or was it just like I'm going in there and whatever happens happens?
I feel like I didn't have an idea, but sometimes like I wish I did. But I'm like, if I did have an idea, maybe I wouldn't be here today, because TV was not on my bingo cards. I generally went in there because, do you know why I went in there? And I wasn't going to go in there, I remember, because I had a really bad acne breakout a couple of weeks before. I said, I'm not going on this damn TV show looking like this. And then I thought, do you know what? They're not picking me for my skin. They're picking me because they clearly like my personality and it's whatever. And I hear all these stories about like, black women shouldn't go on, like dating TV shows. And I'm like, well, I'm not every black girl, and also I don't want to feel like I can't go on something just because I'm black.
Right.
Yeah,
So I was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna get my suitcase and I'm
I'ma
gonna go
go.
on. I was like, I remember like my mom and sister crying at the airport. I was like, don't worry, babe, I'll be home. I'm black, in and out all the time. Don't worry about it.
You'll see me in 2
You'll see me in 2 weeks. Calm
But it's
down.
even so sad that we think like that, like literally.
I was so certain.
Because we're convinced,
I
of
was
course,
so
because the
certain.
track history
Track
is
history.
that.
Yeah,
like,
I
do you
was
get
like,
what
I have
mean?
no expectations of the show. Like,
Right.
I saw Dammy come around the corner. I said, oh, wait a second. But yeah, I'd probably say like doing a full circle moment. So like coming from Love Island and then like working very closely with ITV and hosting the Mobos, and just literally every single day since coming out of the show, I'm just like,
Proper good full circle moment.
But even like, gosh, how can I forget 2 weeks ago interviewing Rihanna?
Like,
Yes,
right?
of course.
How can I forget?
Literally, yeah.
Like growing up being like completely obsessed and just like, she is literally my idol. And I feel like as an adult now, like a young adult, I feel like I resonate a lot with Rihanna, how she's like done her career from like music into beauty into fashion. She's not just like stuck in one place.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very admirable because like that's what I want to do. I don't just want to do one thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very much like put my fingers in every basket.
And you're doing it very well.
Thank you.
Very well.
But yeah, that's
Star
me. That's
girl.
me. How about you guys?
Full circle for me, I think one of mine is when I DJ'd at Carnival for the first time.
Oh gosh, that must have been. That is like proper.
That's crazy.
I was like, because I grew up a Notting Hill Carnival baby. So he would carry us to Carnival every single year. Like, there's pictures of us in matching outfits. Like, every year there's like a whole train of us and we're just like bopping through Carnival. Like, yeah, cool, whatever. So then when I played for the first time, and my dad's like in the crowd, and I got a video of him and he's busting bare blanks, and I'm like, yes!
Oh, that is
Like,
amazing.
look at me, I'm so grown up, Dad, look!
That is so sweet.
Yeah, so that was one of my favourites, I think. That was really nice. And then my little brother was also there with me. So
That's
I was
so
like,
nice.
now I'm bringing you to Carnival. Like, look at us.
yeah.
Because he obviously wouldn't come with us because he's a lot younger than us. So that's one. I think another one that I get quite often is when we, on the show, when we get like requests for kids to get shout outs on the radio. So I remember my first shout out on the radio. I remember where I was. I remember who it was. It was Rudy Ranks. I was in the car with my mum. I was on Uxbridge Road, and then she texted, and then like it was like a minute later he shouted me out, and I was like, how did he get my name in that box in the car? I was fascinated, but I was gassed for the whole day. Like, wow, I got a shout out on the radio. That's so cool. So now when we get messages, like, oh, can you pick up my daughter? It's her birthday. She's 8 today or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I just know that there's a kid somewhere like, oh
Yeah,
my
they
God,
will feel
wow,
that
like,
feeling.
my name on the radio.
Yeah.
So I think those two for me are probably like my favourites. One because Carnival is massive for me.
Yeah.
And then the other one I get it like
Yeah,
often.
yeah.
So it's like reaffirming like every day. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool.
You're like making someone's day.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
like,
how you
oh,
make someone's day.
someone's
Don't
gonna
make
remember
yours.
that
Yeah,
moment.
Yeah.
What about you, honey?
Do you know what? It was so funny. The other day, I went to Black Tech Fest, I think it was last week.
Yeah.
And it's in Drumsheds now. And Drumshed used to be the old IKEA in Edmonton. And I live in Edmonton. So I was on the I was getting interviewed by George.
Yeah.
And it was like just about my career thus far. And it was like a big thing. But the full circle moment is that was the same IKEA that I met my producer of the Zeze Millz show. I went up to him. I was like, I've got this thing called I Do Headscarf Diaries. I know you don't. I don't know if you've seen it, but it does quite well online. There's a lot of traction around it. I feel like the next thing would be to do a show, and I feel like your audiences would be my audience. So I would love for you to maybe help me create something. And he was like, okay, cool. And he's like, okay, come to the studio. Went to the studio. We did like a little screen test of like hot topics, like what's been happening this week. I can't remember what I spoke about. He was just like, okay, just off the top of the dome, how would you do it? So I just sat there, he filmed it, he watched it back, and he was like, okay, cool, we'll start a show. And I was like,
I was just in IKEA yesterday.
I was like, okay. And I knew it was going to be like starting from the ground up.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, I'm going to have my own little show on YouTube.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
this was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And my original thing was the reason I went to him because he had the back chat platform there already. Yeah. So I was like, oh, if I could just hop go on there, then I've got that base already.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, we'll start an own channel. We'll do your own channel and we'll do it from there. And I'm thinking, why would you want to do this to me? Like,
You're like, too much pressure.
You got like 60,000 subscribers already. Why are you making me like go from literally zero?
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it was the best thing because then I built out my own. actual people that cared for the Zeze Millz show.
Yeah.
But literally, I only remember that when George was, she said, how did the Zeze Millz show start?
Yeah.
And I only clocked, I was like, oh
I'm
my
in the
God, I'm
building.
in
Yeah.
IKEA right now. This is where it started.
Wow.
So for me, that was like a really full moment circle for me. And that was like, wow. And then just things like, being on Celebrity Big Brother was the weirdest thing to me because number one, I've grown up watching Big Brother. I remember the first Big Brother. I remember Nasty Nick. I remember Alex. I remember all these different Nikki, all those people. I remember all these characters. But then to be on the celebrity one, to me that was mind blowing. I was thinking. Like when they, you know, use little VTs like, "Hi, I'm Zeze Millz."
Yeah.
They were like, you know, like it was like, oh, what would you do if you won? I was like, first of all, I don't even know I'm on the celebrity one, let alone winning. I'm still wondering if you guys have got this confused, like what is going on here. But even those are just such surreal moments for me because I feel as if when I started, it was all kind of literally, let's just see what happens. And that's always kind of been my thing. And I don't know if this is like a defense mechanism just in case everything pops down. At least I could be like, well, anyway,
I was only
whatever.
joking.
I gotcha.
Like, so I'm always kind of like, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's how I started the Zeze Millz show. Like, let's just see what happens. Okay, let's just see how it goes.
If anybody watching this or listening to this or whatever is like younger, it's just like do anything. Like just do the thing.
anything.
And also just keep going.
Just keep going.
Like, you literally
do
just have
the
to
things.
keep going, keep going, keep going, keep
Because
going.
you never know what's going to come amongst all the noise, amongst all the work. How do you celebrate yourself? So whether that looks like, you know, you get a big job and you celebrate there and then, or whether it looks like every, you know, week or every day, you like take a second to be like, well done, sis. Like, how does that look?
I don't know if I can say this online.
What does that look like for you guys celebrating yourself?
To be fair, probably just having a bit of me time, you know? Kicking my feet up, might go for a little party. I don't know, just anything that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I usually like to celebrate my wins with like close friends and family.
Yeah.
Because I feel like those have been the people that have been with me from day one. And I can always do like that like full circle moment with like them. Like even like when I did Mobos and like my mum came, my sister, all my best friends, and it's like,
they
guys,
had
do you
they had
remember?
the table.
Yeah, they
That
had
was
the whole
so-
table
it
and
was
it's like my
very
whole family.
sweet.
And it's like, do you guys remember like back in the day when we would do this
watched
and
the
now look at
Mobos.
us?
Hello,
like,
we used to stay up and watch
Yeah,
the
I
Mobos.
used
Like
to
back in the
watch the
day, you would stay up
Mobos.
to like 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
30 when they put it, and then you go to school the next day, be like, oh my
Did
God,
you
did you see?
see?
Did you see Left Eye perform? Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it was this. Like, it was actually, that was
Yeah.
like cultural moment
Yeah.
for like, for all
It's
of us. So
insane.
I can imagine it's such a full circle
Such a
moment.
full
Yeah.
circle. Yeah, I feel like that's how I like to celebrate my wins. I just like to bring my close people around me and just like have time to like reflect and be like, you know what, big ups to us, you know,
Yeah.
like give yourself a pat on the back because I feel like especially in this industry and touching on what you were saying by like don't put a time on yourself, I feel like only now in this industry I've been feeling that pressure of like time because like even you guys saying, oh my God, it's only been 2 years. So much happens in such a short space of time that you almost start feeling like if this much is happening now, I don't have any time left to do everything else because it's all happening like so quickly. So I think it's good to just like, you know, like you said, take a step back, reflect, breathe, look back and like just have loads of gratitude and just like thank God and everyone around you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's how I kind of do it. Just celebrate a bit.
Celebrate a bit. What about you?
I just take a nap.
Nice.
I hear it.
No, because like also I'm a very pessimistic person.
Are you?
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm really like I'm glass half empty kind of girl.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
actually, I get that.
Yeah, I am.
yeah.
I'm glass half empty. I'm like, yeah, it could happen. So then when it happens, I'm like, okay, it's happened. And then it's even weird. Like, I almost don't get happy until like if something big has happened. It's filming or something, I still won't get excited till I'm on set. And then even when I'm on set, I'm like, well, something could happen.
I get
you
that.
never know. But they might decide they don't want to put it out anymore. So don't get too excited. And I don't know if that's because I've had so many no's, especially in this industry, you have so many no's. That's one thing. Like a lot of people might look at us and think, all you get is yes all the time.
Yeah.
So many no's. You want some things you fall through, you'd be thinking, oh my God. But yeah, I just like, oh, that was cute. Oh, that was nice. And that's what I say internally. And then I'm just like, I look at things after, maybe like maybe like 3 months after. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really cool. I did that.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
So there is a time when you do give yourself like the well done. But
Yeah, I'll be like, oh,
it
takes me longer.
Okay.
Maybe like 3 months in, I'll be like, oh yeah, I did that.
I think I am getting better. This is like a trained thing at giving thanks every single day. Like I think I'm very intentional about when I wake up, when I go to sleep, when I leave work, when I get off the train safely.
Mm,
There's so
true.
many things that I'm really trying to be more intentional about being thankful for, because not every day is a given.
Yeah.
So true.
Just
Yeah,
the basic of getting home safely is not a given.
Mm-hmm.
So everything else on top of that, I'm like, oh my god, wow.
Yeah.
I got a job. Oh my god, wow.
That's
I
true.
get to buy food. I get to buy a Pret coffee, because them things are expensive.
Girl.
So I'm really trying every day
Yeah.
to try and be more intentional about my gratitude and like what I'm super grateful for. I'm more of, when things happen, I want to just soak it up immediately.
Okay.
So like I think I might have like a really good, like the other day we interviewed Eve on the show, and I left and I was like,
Yeah.
That must be so surreal. You're just like, oh my god, I grew up on her and I love her.
Yeah.
I left. I got brown nails because Eve had brown nails. I swear to you guys,
I love
I
that.
left and I was like, I'm getting brown nails because I just met Eve and she had brown nails.
And
They
it
look really
makes-
cool.
and they look
And
really
I
good,
thought-
by the way.
Yeah,
It's
we
good
were saying
colours.
that
Good colour.
earlier.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's good
Really
colour.
good.
So yes, like things like that happen, and I try and, because I used to be like that, but I don't think it served me very well.
Okay, right.
I think I got like a bit like, oh okay, did that, but it's not good enough. So
Yes, you can fall into that trap, which
now-
is very bad.
now
yeah.
where-
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of-
yeah. Uh-huh.
like fell into. So I'm trying to go completely the other way.
No, yeah.
And just try and be more every single second. I want to be like, oh, thank
It's
you.
a blessing.
Oh my god, it's
Thank
a blessing.
you.
Oh my
No,
god,
you're right.
I'm here.
Yeah.
So that's what I guess try and do. That's my way of kind of celebrating. And sometimes that looks like a new bag.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Also,
that looks like a coffee.
it's always good to have people
Sometimes.
around you that as well celebrate you, because I
Yeah.
think that's also what I semi-celebrate through them.
Yeah.
So they get really excited. Like if
Yeah.
something good happens, management gets excited. My mum will get excited. My friends will get really excited.
Mm.
And I'll be like, oh, it's nice to see them excited. And that kind of makes me happy. If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
so
oh,
good.
they're so happy for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
great. Or I kind of let them get excited for me.
Yeah.
And that's, in
I
a
think
way.
one thing that's very important about what we do, like working in our industry, is having people around you who will like ground you,
100%.
celebrate you, support you, all of the
Mhm.
things. And usually they're the ones that they're your day ones.
Yeah,
Usually
they
they're
are.
your family.
Yeah, yeah,
Usually
yeah.
they're the ones that you've known for the longest before anything crazy
100
happened.
mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to have the people that are going to keep you solid, and then they're going to celebrate your wins for you, even if you're
100%.
just like, yeah, it's cool, and they're like, are you joking?
Yeah,
You
literally.
did this, you
Like
did
so
that.
many
'Cause
times.
They'll be gas for you. And
I
you're like, oh,
agree.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when there's
thanks,
so much going on, it's so easy to get lost. Whether
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't thank yourself enough, or you don't give yourself enough props, or maybe you do fall off and you're not as grounded as you used to be.
Yeah.
When things are literally back to back, you end up just
Yeah,
you're floating,
just
just
going,
yeah,
just
yeah.
doing
riding
it.
the wave. And you can
Yeah.
end up in certain situations that you thought, maybe I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you have to really just like check in with yourself all the time.
So one thing I want to know though, because we're talking about our journeys and how they're all kind of been a bit like it just happened almost. So do you guys ever get imposter syndrome? Have you ever been like, I'm not supposed to be here, or why is this happening, or I don't deserve to be here, or somebody else should be here? Has that ever happened with you guys?
When I first got given the role of breakfast at Capital XTRA,
Yeah.
I think that was the time when I got it like crazy, and I was like, because I'd been doing radio for like 5 years prior.
Yeah.
So I put in the work, I put in the hours, and I was very deserving because I'm very good at my job. So I was very
You
deserving
are.
You are very good
to
at
be
your job.
where I was at the time. And then I was like, okay, great. I got the job at the station, and then 9 months later, we got given breakfast. And breakfast and radio is the biggest show of the station.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, bear responsibility, and like you've been catapulted into this.
Yeah.
And there are people who have been maybe working at the station longer or in the industry longer. They might feel more deserving, and they might. So I was like, oh, okay, damn, I've got to like take on this big responsibility, and I still feel very in my infancy at this station, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. I don't know what I'm doing. I am not the right person for this job. As in, like, every day I go home and be like, so are they gonna call me? And today the day they're gonna be like, yeah, that's enough. You can stay home tomorrow. So I had a lot of that, I think, at the beginning, and like the first year of starting where I am now. I don't know how I got over that. I don't know what like I did or like what
Probably
the.
time.
I think it was just time,
Yeah.
and then just settling in, and then kind of just reaffirming myself that. That's what I'm saying about being in the moment of being grateful. It's like, all right, I had a good show, be happy about it.
Right, yeah.
Like I had like a good like day, be happy about it. Be
Yeah.
like live in that, because if you just wait too long to be
perfect.
to be perfect or to be grateful, you're gonna forget that you did have a good time, or you are
100%.
supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So I think mine was definitely then. I've had other little times as well. I think they pop up once in a while when I might get certain opportunities, or even I think sometimes as well when you do something and you might not be like on top form that day, and it's like, oh man, I'm terrible at my job, or oh man, I wasn't supposed to get that because but you had a bad day. Like, it's actually okay. Like, you're not supposed to be perfect all the time. So it pops up here and then. But that was probably the biggest one. But then after time, it kind of just settled itself out, I think.
Yeah.
Again, because I feel like I've been catapulted to fame. Like, it's gone from like 0 to like 100.
Yeah.
So I feel like with me, it's very easy to feel like I don't want people to feel like I've just been given things,
Right.
or like I've not worked hard to be where I am. Like, you might see my face everywhere and whatever, and people might think, oh, because she did really well and whatever, so of course they're gonna give it to her. When it's like, no, I revised for this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's how I feel sometimes. I don't feel ever undeserving. I sometimes feel like, does anyone really give a toss? Like, you know, sometimes you're doing something, I'm like, why am I doing this again? Like, what is the point? So I feel like sometimes I lose track of my purpose.
Okay.
And I always try and find out what my purpose is again every so often. I feel like, especially when things are happening so fast, I never want to get in the position of doing things for the sake of it, or just taking that job because it's here. Like, I always try and do things with intention.
Yeah.
So like, do a job because I really enjoy it, because I love it, or there's a meaning behind it that I want to spread, or something like that. But then I guess it's not my job to like change people's opinions too much.
Yeah.
Because people always think what they think.
100%.
So I always kind of say, like, whenever I feel like, oh, no one cares, it's like, well, actually, who cares if they don't care?
Who cares if they care? If you care, you care.
Yeah.
Like,
and yeah, it's making sure I care.
Yeah.
Making sure I care about the stuff I do. But yeah, I feel like this industry is the worst for imposter syndrome, because I feel like there's new people coming out every day.
All the time.
Even me, like, it's never really bothered me, but even like being on like working for Love Island, there was, there's gonna be a new girl next year. I'm like,
oh my God.
There's room.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God, yeah.
Where's everyone else going?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, we're all still here.
Right,
you know?
right.
So it's like, yeah, like, people can put little things in your ear and make you feel like, is my time over? But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm still on the search for finding how to get rid of this imposter syndrome. Because
I don't think it ever goes. I don't think it
Yeah.
ever goes. Me all the time, I think. But it's so interesting. Someone asked me this the other day, and I said, if I'm being honest with you, I think I feel like I'm worked hard to where I've got to. And sometimes I do think, actually, if I probably wasn't a black woman, I'd probably be further, actually, than what I am now, because as we know, as black women, we have to work 10 times as hard. You got to prove yourself. Oh, we want to give you this show, but we don't know if there's an audience for it, or we don't know if there's this, or like, yeah, we like you, but we're not too sure about this, or there's always like 5,000 questions around us before they give it to us, if that makes sense. And so I think, but then there, on the other hand as well, there's like, yeah, just like I said, even doing Celebrity Big Brother, all that kind of stuff, it's like, what the hell am I doing here? How did this happen? Or just because how the Zeze Millz show even started, I'm always just thinking, well, this is interesting, like, okay, cool. Or, you know, when people say, oh, can I get a picture? I'm like, why? What the hell? I'm just some girl on the line that talks all the time. Like, what do we want?
That picture one is a big one.
It's weird as hell.
When I came out, obviously, like, things were just like crazy when I first came out. I remember we got to like a hotel and there were like these kids there.
Yeah.
She was crying when she saw me. I was like, sorry, did I do something? I just love you so much. And then, like, not in a bad way, but like, I'm not going to be funny. Like, I feel like I had a great journey on Love Island, but I did anything out of the ordinary.
No.
So when people ask me, I'm like, I didn't really do anything.
No, but that just, it goes back to the representation.
Like,
that was what it is. And I think that's what it is. It's like, because we, especially as black women watching another black woman on TV, we know that this could get real peak.
Yeah.
And
You're literally clutching watching
that's
that
literally
exactly how you must be feeling in every single
right.
instant. We're like, okay,
So,
she's thinking that. She's
yeah.
thinking this.
There was a lot
wear
of times like that.
So
gotta
because
do
you
that with
carried
her
yourself so well on that show, like, you carried yourself so well, you represented us so well. You don't even need to have done anything quote unquote amazing. It's just you being yourself. That's and us being able to relate to you, and us not being like, oh, why did she do that? And it's not when that has happened, you're allowed to do whatever you want.
Whatever you relate to.
Right, yeah. So you did such a good job, and then obviously because you found the love as well, and it was like authentic love, and it was so beautiful to watch it. That is why women
That is
and
why
young
we're
girls
like-
are gonna be crying, or
Yeah.
young girls are gonna look at you and be like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
representation that I would like to see. So
Yeah. So I
you
guess
did
it's
you
not
did the
your
damn thing.
usual.
You did the damn thing, girl.
Yeah. It's someone that looks like you as well. It's like, oh, so it is possible.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
can have
We
reality
can,
TV.
yeah,
love.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
And
yeah.
get
because there was
side
that
of it.
narrative before,
Mm.
like of the darker skinned girl going in, not
Yeah.
finding love, and
no
then
one
it's
else wants
what no
her.
one wants her.
Yeah.
To see how you two flourished, that's what won
Yeah.
everyone over. It was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, is this
Is
this
it? Is this the
happening?
one? Like, we
what
love
the
this.
hell?
People also had to like convince themselves. I feel like for a long time people were like, oh no, he doesn't really like black girls.
But I've got a problem
He
with that
doesn't really
anyway.
like her. I'm like, but why would he not?
Why?
Am I not
Why would he
gorgeous?
I really have a big gripe with that when people are like, oh, he doesn't. I'm like, when we come up with this narrative, we're actually feeding into the idea that black men don't find
Yeah.
black women or
And
certain type of black women
And
attractive.
that black
So
women
why?
are not attractive.
Right. So
Yeah.
why are we? What's
Why are we
going on
doing
here?
that?
Why are we saying, oh, he doesn't really like
And he's
her?
not.
It's like,
And no one said anything, mind you.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
No one,
right,
no
right,
one,
right.
no one said anything. You're
Right,
just
right.
like, whether it's from personal experience or insecurity or whatever, you're just pushing a narrative that doesn't exist in this situation.
Right.
Yeah,
literally.
yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
To kind of wrap up, I guess, what would the 16-year-old you say to you now? What would she think? What would she feel? How would she look at you?
I was such a cool
16-year-old.
16. I got this on at 16. My
Is
septum.
it?
Did
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, and I got cussed out for it, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it.
Okay, so what was 16-year-old you like?
Oh my gosh, I remember we snuck into the boiler room, and ASAP Rocky was warming,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I touched the back of his braids.
Wow.
And now you.
Yeah.
And now
you
Rihanna.
use-
Yeah.
Full
That's
circle
great. Full
moment.
circle.
I was
Another
just
one.
ending
Right.
up in places I shouldn't be at 16, but it was fun. Like I feel like I
Yeah.
had a childhood,
Right.
which I love. But 16-year-old me, I would say, keep being that like authentic you. Like at 16, I wasn't scared of anything. Like I would say anything, I would do anything, I'd go anywhere, and I would say just keep that same fire and energy, and don't sell yourself like short. Just go for it. Like we were saying earlier, like no is not yet. You know, it's just redirection. It's not now. It's not your time. Enjoy your youth. Enjoy your childhood. Don't put time on things.
Yeah.
And just honestly, I know it sounds so cliche. It really does, but it's so true. You can do anything you want to do. Like anything. Like anything at all. So just don't even sweat it. And if it's not going to matter in 10 years, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
What was 16-year-old you like?
Yeah, I was like a proper church girl. Like I was a really good, like really
like
good
I've heard you say
church
that
girl.
before.
Yeah, I was like proper went to church, and I was, but I always loved the culture. That's one thing I've always enjoyed R&B, hip hop. I've
Yeah.
always enjoyed like black culture.
Yeah.
Whether it was like overseas, and that's why growing up we didn't have like black culture here, British black culture. Like to be a part of a scene now where it's like, GRM awards, these type of all the galas that we get to. There was none of that that wasn't a thing. Like
Even
growing
music,
up, music, all
films,
these
TV
type of things,
shows.
it wasn't a thing. So I feel like my 16-year-old, if like my 16-year-old self now, I think she would think I was pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
I think she would think,
Yeah.
oh, you're pretty cool. Like you're like,
Yeah.
so that's kind of
Yeah.
because like all the people that I adore now, I've grown up like
Yes.
admiring them or listening to their music, or even like Stormzy, like to be in his video, Mel made me do it, and to be
Yeah.
sat next to like Louis Theroux, Jonathan Ross, like Dina Asher Smith, like before I became cool with Stormzy, like I've watched him from afar. So then to be like respected by him, that to me is weird. Like even all those type of things, to be like in like Little Sims video, all these type of things where people like genuinely think I'm cool, like
Yeah,
do you know what I
yeah,
mean? They think
yeah.
I'm like they respect me, and they
Yeah.
feel like so for me that is just so weird. I'm like, okay, like this is weird because I've watched all of you from afar, and now we're like
Hanging out.
yeah,
Now
so
we're
that
here.
and it's we're cool because you respect what I've done and how I've built my brand, and
Yeah.
they don't always agree with me, they don't always think what I say is right, but I know that there's always like respect there, and I think that for me is like the best thing for me.
I feel like my 16-year-old self would say the same thing to me. It's kind of like, oh wow, like
Yeah,
cool.
look at you interviewing
like,
Eve.
who are you,
girl?
Like, this is so
Like,
cool.
yeah,
I think when
yeah.
I was 16, maybe when I was a bit younger, I think I grew up. I was very shy. I was very reserved, and I'm still quite shy now. I'm quite reserved. Only around my like close people where I'm like a maniac. but I've always been quite like chill, very shy. So the thought of me doing a job that requires me to talk to so many people,
Right.
and like be friendly and chat and like make jokes and like make people feel comfortable. 16-year-old me would have been like, how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Being the person that you are now, how is that going to be professional?
How does this work?
Okay, you will sit in like your room with a book and just be,
Right.
and have a good time, and you'll be fine with that. So I think that she think like, oh, like well done, man. This is really cool. Like
Yeah.
and a lot of things that I do now make a lot of sense to what I did when I was younger. So maybe like that's another full circle.
I wish that I could like grab my 16-year-old self and like have her here as like a little sister. Like I feel like she would look at me as like, oh my god, you're like a really cool.
I feel like they're always with us.
Yeah.
Inside. I think because
With us.
because I feel like if we talk about carrying things like trauma, then we carry
Yeah.
like the inner child with us all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of probably keeps us going as well. And
Yeah.
that you remember that feeling of like, when I was younger, I wish I was doing this. I wish, because we all like would grow up and play like make believe, and we'd be like a little like, oh, I'm gonna be this like superstar, and
Like,
I'm gonna be
doing
this, and I'm
dance
gonna be doing
routines
dance
and-
routines and dancing
yeah.
to whatever. And now you're literally like living, and you're in that environment that you kind of wish that you were gonna be in when you was kind of growing up, whether it was like in whatever capacity it was gonna be. So I think we always carry it. We carry the little us inside.
And also, we have ones inside, and then we have the ones that are strangers to us, but like they're watching us work and do what we're doing, and then maybe one day they get inspired to do whatever it is that
Like,
they want to
and
do.
that happened the other day when I was on radio. This young girl texted in, and she's like, "Oh, when I love listening to you. You're on radio, I'm at work making my sandwiches." And then she's like, "But you came to speak at my school when I was 16, and it's so weird now to hear you on the radio." And I was just like, "Oh my god!" And I remember going to that school, and I kind of like what you say before you went to Love Island. I didn't have any money. Like I was brokety broke. They didn't even pay me to come to school because it was school. They don't have budget like that. And I remember I had to get up bare early that morning. I had to ask my work if they'd let me come in a little bit later. And it was like in the middle of winter. My mum dropped me to the station. It was like some far place in South, and I went and I had prepared a little speech for them to say like, keep doing this. And this time, like, girl, you broke. You ain't got nobody. You don't know what's happening. But when she texted in, it was like it was such another full circle moment. And just like you said, you're inspiring the younger generation, even if you don't think you are. They're like watching, and it's just a simple thing of representation. Like if Indiyah can do it, I can do it. If Shayna can do it, I can do it. If Zeze can do it, I can do it. If Mel can do it, I can do it. Whoever, if they can do it, boom, amazing. And so that's what I'm happy about. Yeah
Girls,
it's been so good.
it's been a pleasure. This
been
was
beautiful.
so much fun.
It was really fun.
it
I love
was
a good
good to-
gist,
Me
Same.
too.
I love to bloody chat.
Listen. Well, we've all
That's
made
all we do. That's-
we've
make a
actually made
living.
careers out of it. Literally, just
That's why they
talking.
pay us the big bucks.
Just talking all the time. Literally.
Yeah, it's been really nice, I think, as well, to get to hear like journeys as well. Sometimes, like you said, like someone said, I don't know, we've been talking for hours. Someone said it. Like people might think, oh, you just arrived here. Like you just appeared.
yeah.
But actually, there's been like things,
Journeys
and journeys, and things that we've been through and like are happy with and grateful for. So yeah, it's been really nice. And it's been fun.
Hot girl talks.
Hot girl talks.
Hot girl talks.